You're at the auction. The only thing that you have to fight with, the only thing in your bag of tricks is paying more.
Think about how messed up that whole freaking process is.
Yeah.
We put a bunch of dealers in that want all the same thing. All we do is drive the price up.
When you're buying from a private seller, you can use tact and strategy.
The most important aspect of what we do in the automotive industry, we neglect it.
Take the best auction buyer in the country right now, and I'll stack him up against a 19-year-old girl that'll kick his ass.
That's right. Trust me, I was a victim of a sales manager.
It's a freaking lottery for these guys. They're gambling.
Yeah.
With your money. We identified the core things that make a dealer successful. And we know that if they do these things, these like 5, 6 things, that their likelihood of success long-term goes through the roof. What you're doing is not only getting that good inventory, you're winning that customer base.
They try to leave you and never come back. And they probably would have never come back either.
Yeah, they're trying to maximize trade-ins, but like what can you do? Run more ads, spend $100,000 in freaking meta ad spend every month and try to get trade-ins that way?
If I was a used car manager right now, I'd pitch to build a team. I'd be building an acquisition team. I'd be making all these people work for me and buy cars for me, and I'd sit back and laugh and make money.
If I sit down in a meeting with the dealer and they tell me they have no desire to grow the used car department, then I hope you have a great day and I wish you the best, but we don't need to be talking.
You don't evolve, you die, right? And so we're helping push the evolution of the used car department.
We are really just trying to help the dealers take their talent in the area where they have an advantage.
Yep.
Wow.
And in return, they make more money. That's it.
When I wasn't in the automotive industry, like before, I thought what made me interested in it and want to get into it was that it was like pure arbitrage. Like the fact that you could buy something and sell it and make a profit on it and, you know, enhance the experience of someone who's buying it to add value, right? Like then there's so many different levers that you can pull to be successful. Right? There's so many different things that you can do. It's like kind of an open territory. But I think a lot of dealers fall into the trap of like looking at what everybody else is doing rather than trying to like think outside the box, get creative, come up with their own stuff, you know? So that's a good point for like Nick when he was at Chuck Patterson. Like you had to do that and look at what happened from it, you know? The used car department wasn't making any money, right? You guys were like break even, I think.
I mean, we were doing pretty well. We were number 1 in the city. So really the question was, how do we gain more market share? So when I would look at the Polk report or the Dominion report, they take all the DMV registrations in your city, and then it tells you, lists, you know, how many Jettas sold, gives you some insight of what's hot in your market. So when, you know, you're number 1, you're trying to gain more market share, well, take a 0.25% or 0.5% from your competition, or there's this huge underground river that's running right below us that no one's looking at, which is the private party sector. So that was when I realized, I can gain 5-6 points there, percentage points. And now we're really making money. And so we were profitable. Now we doubled down in profitability, and that's why that exists.
When you started, it was like 20% of the market was on those platforms, and now it's 40%, so it's only grown.
Exactly, and it only will continue to grow.
What's crazy is like when Nick brings up, you talk about COVID and the auction, right? You know how that whole dynamic got started. It actually made dealers get better at used cars because the rental companies couldn't release their rental cars into the auction, right? Remember, like that's how these dealers were lazy at the beginning. Is you got Enterprise, Hertz, Alamo, they're releasing product, flooding the auction. 50% of the auction is rental cars. That's gone, right? So a normal dealer, a lazy dealer, could go to the auction and go, oh, I had sales guy. Trust me, I was a victim of a sales manager that loved Enterprise cars.
Oh, I was a victim too, dude. Yeah. I love those $100
Enterprise Tahoe. Oh, thank you.
No one had ever.
2, 3, raise your hand. I can get 5 Enterprise Tahoe.
No one had ever bought a C-Class Mercedes for a Toyota delership called Chuck Patterson Toyota ever until I did for a $100 gift card.
Yeah, 60% of my dad's inventory was Enterprise cars because my dad's sales manager was lazy.
So what was the turn like?
Horrible.
Most dealers trying to do what I'm seeing and hearing is trade-ins. They're like, I need to live off of trade-ins, right? Yeah. But nobody's out there. There's never a time I go into a sales meeting and I'm like, are you happy with even the volume of inventory you have right now. Oh no, we want to get back to like pre-COVID levels of 120. We're at 70 right now.
Right.
I'm like, well, why aren't you just going to the auction and buying 50 more? And he's like, well, because I'm fucking losing money when I do that, you know? So they're trying to maximize trade-ins, but like what can you do? Run more ads, spend $100,000 in freaking meta ad spend every month and try to get trade-ins that way? And then you're marketing to a bunch of people that like, they'd have no intent to go trade their car in.
You can't just sit there and hold your breath and wait on the right trade-in to come in, right? But you can go online, you can see all the private party vehicles that are out there. Not only that, but honestly, I buy cars from my competition all the time. I would watch their inventory and I look at the ones aging. I would know which ones that I know sell for me or the dealership that I worked at. Yeah, I get some crazy good deals there because they're buying product like a Tacoma, for example, at a VW store. Not the hottest thing. For a Toyota dealership in Northern California, that thing sells very quickly, right? So the used car manager is going to put a way lower number on that trade-in Tacoma than I would, right? So I can actually get a really good price on that, for example.
I like that perspective because a lot of people think of their competition as like zero sum, right? Either I win or they win and I lose. But in reality, we could both win.
And so it leads to kind of the question of, well, why are we deterring ourselves from the actual dealership listings as well? You know, I get wholesale stuff. Like if you're holding someone else's pink slip and doing a quick flip, that's totally understandable. Yeah. But if it's a dealership listed car for the right price point, why not?
Yeah, I would say 5, maybe 10% of dealers that I talk to when we're giving demos will be like, so I can toggle that and show the dealers, right? He's like, I'll buy from a dealer if I can make money on it. I'm like, that's the guy I want on this platform.
I was going to say, I bet that guy makes money.
Right? That is a good car guy because he knows that there's all these potluck car guys. There's all these mom and pa individually owned used car. And what do? They get all happy and they want to put on their big pants and they go to the auction. Yeah. And they mess up and they buy something they can't sell or they can't, you know, but what's that to a dealer?
It's the ether a lot of the time too. Is you're at the auction, you got noise, there's auctioneers and there's 12 lanes and sometimes there's actually 2 auctioneers in one lane, one on the end and one in the beginning. And there's so much going on that you don't know your bid.
I guess my question is, why do you think that a dealer, I guess a normal franchise dealer doesn't even question how much competition he has in the auction lane, rather compared to private party?
It's a great place to wholesale cars.
I think it's just comfortable. It's what they're used to. It's easy.
It's what they're used to, right? So if you're a really good salesman and experts, like we say in the car business, and we know how to close everybody, right? Why are we wasting our time going up against all these other dealers in the lane? And
variable too is price too. Like you don't have a way to bring value outside of that, right? You're at the auction. The only thing that you have to fight with, the only thing in your bag of tricks is paying more. There's nothing else you can do. But when you're buying from a private seller, you can use tact and strategy and be more
think
skillful.
About how messed up that whole freaking process is.
Yeah.
We put a bunch of dealers in that want all the same thing. All we do is drive the price up.
It's just a Shark Tank and there's just bigger sharks.
Crazy. You got these auction houses that just go, let's get all these dealers to go in and bid against everybody, bid against themselves and then pay us a fat fee. They're sitting back laughing.
For me, starting VetX was because I couldn't conceptualize owning all the brick and mortar stores in all the different cities and then build the sales teams to sell the cars and things like that. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just use the dealer body that's already exists, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so same goes with auctions because to get approved with an auction, you have to be able to have enough funding, they're paying cash, wire transfers are taking place, all that stuff. The private party being able to virtually have that same process take place, I think is an interesting concept.
I do have a lot of dealers, they ask me like, if this works so great, then why don't you guys just use it everywhere and buy all the cars?
And we should.
The real answer is because that takes so much infrastructure and planning.
Do you want to be like Carvana?
And you have to, there is that already, but like,
How are they
to
doing
be able to
financially?
build that, how long is that going to take us, right? And how much like time and resources have to go into that? But they already have all that infrastructure in place, and it's sort of like just plugging a new business into like this existing infrastructure, right? And I think that's why we've learned to become this tech-enabled service that's so hands-on, is because they're almost building a new business within their just existing infrastructure and staff and processes. They're perfectly optimized for it already, right? You sell cars for a living, you can buy cars for a living. There's more money in it.
So you take a dealer with a skill set in the auto industry. He knows how to buy cars better than anybody. And he wants to go put himself in the biggest pool of competition to buy a car. Think about where we put him. We put them where they are the top dog to go buy a car in their competition.
Yeah, with
They're
the
gonna
sales
go,
process.
They're going to go
that's what they
deal
know.
against private party people? You're telling me you're a badass dealer and you can't go buy a car private party and make them feel comfortable and get the car done?
Dude, that's a fact. I mean, how many times have we heard that
Wow.
one, huh? It's kind of embarrassing for
Wow,
them.
exactly,
right?
dude. You
Well,
should be the best at buying private
I
parties.
could not make that phone call, dude. If I was that owner or manager of that dealership, that's got to be one of the hardest phone calls to make. Is we literally cannot buy a private party car.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about your elite dealer group, because your elite dealer group's awesome. I've always been a big fan. Nick's been in a
It's the
NADA.
benchmark group.
You know,
Yeah, I took
Yeah.
a page out of the old automotive handbook, and I saw they were doing the 20 groups, and I'm like, that's a pretty damn good idea, you know? So made our own with our best performing dealers, right? We get together on the first Tuesday every month, and like they get to decide on a topic of what we're gonna talk about. But usually when we get going, we go off on this one tangent and we spend the rest 45 minutes diving into it. Everyone's really passionate, you know, but I think that the one of the biggest differences I see with those dealers
the elite
versus,
dealers. Yeah.
versus the other calls where we're trying to get them back on track and teach them private party acquisition is that the other ones, they're analysis paralysis, and they're like trying to make sure they're finding the exact right car before they even gave it a thumbs up in VetX, before they even moved it in the works and asked a question and got the VIN. Like, you don't know anything about this yet and you're writing it off. The best dealer in that elite dealer group told me, if I can buy a spoon and sell it for $1 more, I'm gonna buy that.
I would always say that too. I would tell it to the customers. I'm like, hey, look, I'm reaching out to you because I'm already prepared to buy your car. You know, I wouldn't have called you if it, you know, I am a dealer.
Yeah.
But like, I always start with that. I'm prepared to buy your car because we are actually low on inventory on that, and your car is a hot seller for us, right? We have some advantages that you don't, like financing options and all this stuff, you know, that. So this isn't about making money on selling your car, you know, because your car's priced too low. This is about having your car available so our sales team can sell it.
I would say in a normal industry niche that probably 70% of our dealers are elite against the industry
Yeah.
because they're already here. They're already seeing the value of private party acquisition. And to me, that's an elite dealer. And that makes me sad because it's a real gold mine out there where any dealer can grab it. But yet we're really only seeing the guys that are making 200, 300, 400, 500 a month in gross at the top, right?
Yeah, because the ones that get it, they're not just doing VetX too, right? They're the ones that are absolutely crushing with VetX. Like, if you dive into it with them, you'll see they're taking other initiatives
They're making private
too,
party acquisition a priority,
right?
like
and
we talked, a
it's their-
department.
Exactly. So many times I'm in a meeting and they're asking like, well, I already have this tool, so should I cancel it and sign up with you guys? I think a lot of salespeople might just say, yeah, that's a good idea. But I'm like, are you getting a positive ROI? Are you making money off of that? Why in the world would you cancel it? Do both.
Do it all.
I think there's a misconception of a private party car too from a lot of dealers out there that they feel nervous about buying it because they feel like there's something wrong with it, when
The trade-in.
in all actuality, it's better than a trade-in.
Exactly.
The average recron cost across the board since day one has been lower than trade-ins and auctions.
That's because you have someone who's acting as a salesman trying to sell their
And
car.
they know what's wrong with their car, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to fix all of the little nuances that bug them in order to get the value that they're
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what came up as my biggest takeaway from the last elite dealer group. Was I was surprised, and I never asked before, but the consensus among all of them is that actually 40 to 50% of their VetX acquisitions are turning into trade-ins. And I didn't understand at first, so I dug deeper. And
That's
the reason why they told us the common theme was that people were going to other dealerships and trying to trade their car in. And they're saying like, I want to buy this one, I want to trade mine in. And what do
They
we all
didn't like
know?
the figure.
Corey, you know this especially. When someone comes in as a trade-in opportunity, the dealers, a lot of times they start licking their chops and they're like, I'm going to crack a home run on this one. I'm going to get them in real low on this trade-in number and they're not going to notice. And what do those people do? They say, oh yeah, I'll go home and think about it. And your salesperson says, okay, great, I'll call you next week. And in the meantime, they go home and they post it on Facebook Marketplace, they post it on Craigslist, and they're trying to sell it themselves. They open up that can of worms and it doesn't go great. If you're there and you're transparent and give a good offer, right? Make money on this car. You're still gonna make front end gross more than you do at the auction, but like give them a good offer for this car. What you're doing is not only getting that good inventory, you're winning that customer base. Like that person tried to
They tried to leave you and
Tried
never come
to-
back. And they probably would have never come back either.
yeah, now they're your customer for life, right? They might have been their customer for life.
The
but they tried to
marketing,
crack 'em.
itself pays for the service.
Every dealer could just advertise, hey, bring your car in. We want to give you a number on it. We want to buy your car and we're going to wash your car for free.
Yeah. But they're thinking, if a dealer has that idea, they're thinking, who the hell do I call?
Exactly.
Who do I talk to? Just open the phone book and start dialing?
Oh, you gotta call Saul.
Wow. Imagine BetX might have a whole.
I think I know something that solves that problem.
BetX
I think I know
might
something
have
that gives you a list.
A lot of lists.
A list that you can
Yeah,
call on.
a lot of cars.
It's
Yeah.
a gold mine. And when I got into this industry, I realized that in the car business, there isn't really a true cold call. You know, like you're calling someone who came in a long time ago, and you know, it's different. You're relying on like that inbound. So what got me really excited about VetX when I didn't even know the industry was that it was a way to outbound in the automotive space. And I think that's a way to gain control, right? Inbound a lot of times is out of your control, right? But that outbound is like the number of calls you make.
Well, what's in your control
is
is
gonna
the
determine
sales
the
funnel
outcome.
numbers.
You're generating your success. Yes.
But what if you have nobody to call? That's what these dealers are dealing with all the time. Who do I call?
And we know we're doing that for dealers, right? We're generating the avenue for success that they haven't had in a long time on so many levels.
I talked to a dealer not too long ago who they're not a dealer, a wholesaler. They're one of the biggest wholesalers in the country. You definitely know the name. And they have their process down pat. Obviously, they're making a ton of money. And what they do is they buy strictly from private sellers, a bunch of different ways, outbound included. And they make sure that they have enough room to make $1,000 on it. And on average, that's what they crack, like between $1,000 and $1,500. And they're moving these in bulk to the auction.
You're talking about just phone or just in
If they're
total?
wholesaling it. So
Oh, I see. Wow.
1,000 to 1,500, right? That's all they need for it. And they're taking it to the auction. Now, what does the auction do? They've got the $1,000 auction fee, and then you got the transportation on top of that. So at the end of it, the dealer that's ending up with that car on their lot, they paid 2 middlemen, both of them over $1,000 each, essentially, to move that car to their lot. It'd be 10 times more worth it to bypass those guys, move them out of the way, and go straight to that private seller. Now you're getting a $2,000 discount for one, right? Because you're buying it what the first guy bought it at, but you're also having that opportunity, like Corey said, to get a new customer.
And then you're making profit now. So
Now you can make money on it.
Yeah, I think one of the first things that came to my mind when Nick introduced me to VetX was this is an opportunity for a dealer to not only acquire inventory, but to have free marketing because they have someone in their store now, right? And now they have a high probability of turning that acquisition into a sell too. They just got 3 major value adds from this basically one interaction.
Your buyer at your dealership who's been buying from the auction his whole life and he's the best buyer you know, that guy is holding you back and losing you money.
Yes, he is.
I hate to be the one to break it to you.
I know.
Take the best auction buyer in the country right now, and I'll stack him up against a 19-year-old girl that'll kick his ass.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. What's she doing for the store compared to him? Really?
Yeah.
He's down at the auction hanging out with a bunch of dealers. Wow. And she's calling everybody in my market, driving everybody into my store, creating opportunity every minute of every day.
You know what he doesn't want to do anymore? Work.
Yeah.
He's got life on easy street.
Yeah.
He's got his buddies at the auction.
But he can't
shows
buy
up.
those rental cars he could get away with before and make money
He
on
could
them.
probably be more successful if every third car he decided to raise his hand till the end.
Yeah.
It's a freaking lottery for these guys. They're gambling
Yeah.
with your money.
And they get to go up against and gamble with all those other dealers out there that need the same car he does.
If you're playing poker, right, and you go until nobody has nothing left, who's going to win? The guy with the biggest pot, as long as he knows how to play poker, right? So who's going to win at the auction? CarMax, Carvana. they've got the biggest pot. They'll keep buying. They'll outbid you on every single car.
We're proven to where we have a revenue stream, right? It's just a flip to sales, is it not?
Yeah.
We build buy teams just like sales teams across the nation, right? And our buyers buy 15 to 25 cars on average a month, right? It's crazy. So how much is our average buyer making a store?
Well, it's about 120 grand a month.
Easy, right? Gross, pure gross.
Yeah.
We have proven gross in this avenue. Why in the world do you not have more buyers than you have salespeople?
Every dealer will agree that the money's made in the buy, but they've got 12 salespeople and one buyer.
Yeah. The most important aspect of what we do in the automotive industry, we neglect it. We neglect it. It is so sad to watch. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have a dealership, so they're going to have 10 buyers. And I'm going to have 5 salesmen. That's going to be my store, so look out. I've been in the car business my whole life. I'm a Ford dealer, Chevy dealer, born and raised in it, worked for Hendricks Group, turned around 5 dealerships. And I ask every dealer, what do you need? More revenue, more gross. Well, we're giving it to you. If a buyer is making you 150 gross minimum, why don't you have 10 of them? Ask yourself that. We need to be taught as auto dealers how to buy a car. Hold there, because we're going to teach you how to do it. We got you. We're going to hire your buyer. We're going to give you the pay. We're going to do it all that.
What we implemented was the buyer recruiting program, right? And it started off as Keith, the godfather of this company. He was day one. He was just simply putting out job listings and trying to pair buyers with dealers. It wasn't an official like service at the time. We were just trying to help, right? And after a couple, we saw, yeah, they're crushing it. We need to hire more of these, and there's a lot of value here, so we need to build it into our offering. And so we went out, and Ryan and John Boo, we built a really strong recruiting team. And now we have a dialed in process where we have a dealer that wants to be successful with private party acquisition. The thing that's holding them back is having a buyer, or maybe an existing dealer that we have on, they lost their buyer for one reason or another, and they just need this person. And a lot of times they don't know who to look for, right? And I think that brings up another point, not to go off too much on a tangent, but like, who is that right person to work that X? A lot of times that dealer doesn't know, right? But we've seen it done right, and we've seen it done wrong every which way you can imagine. So we can take that knowledge and really sit down and strategize with the dealer first before we go and look for that individual, because we got to know who this person needs to be. It did wonders for my sales department too, because there were so many dealers that wanted to do it. They're excited, they're passionate. And the one roadblock, right? Any good salesperson is going to ask, like, what's holding you back? Why aren't you doing this? You know it's going to be great for you. And the number one roadblock was, I don't have somebody to use it. And time after time, we're trying to convince them to hire a buyer, and they agree, like, yeah, I'm going to hire a buyer. And then what happens? Nothing. They don't hire anybody. And so once we were equipped with that, not only did our dealers become way more successful, but our closing percentage on new dealers went through the roof because we could solve the problem. And I think that exemplifies what makes us the cream of the crop in automotive software.
Yeah.
Is that if there's a problem, we're going to go solve it, not try to beat around it and work around it. We're going to go head on at it.
If I was a used car manager right now, I'd pitch to build a team. I'd be build an acquisition team. I'd be making all these people work for me and buy cars for me, and I'd sit back and laugh and make money.
We study our elite dealers. We have the elite dealer group. We meet with them all the time. And over the years, learning what works, what doesn't work, and building our playbook, which is a part of this mastery stack.
Oh, it's
you
the
get
secret
a
sauce.
physical playbook. It is the sauce, but it's not just the sauce handed to you with a pat on the back and a good luck. It's the sauce alongside a whole team that has your back to make sure you can implement that
With a
sauce,
plan behind it.
right? With the plan behind it, right? So we built these tiers so that way we can cater to the right dealers for what they need. But if you want to be the best of the best, we know how. We have the blueprint, and we've built it into this stack, this mastery stack, that it's all encompassing and it's customly dialed in for you and your team. And it's not just build it and here you go. We're monitoring it throughout that process, right? So I call it the 3 A's. We act first, right? We take that action. That's what always starts everything. We assess the results all the time with you on the weekly coaching calls and the monthly strategy calls. We assess the results and we make the necessary adjustments, right? We know every dealership's different, every market's different, every buyer and seller's different, right? So we're constantly making tweaks to this process to keep you dialed in and make sure you're the best at private party acquisition in your market so you can dominate it. What dealer out there is perfectly positioned and needs the mastery stack?
So our mastery stacks are cater and can be customized to every dealer, right? It depends on what you're looking for, right? And it also depends on how aggressive you want, right? You might not be a store that wants to buy 40 cars a month, or you might be, right? So we're going to customize that package for you and incentivize behind it on how it can help you buy cars.
I think there's one real, true, absolute requirement for every dealer to make sure that they're a good fit, and it's that they want to grow their used car department, right? They want to grow in general, right? A lot of the times they're acquiring new dealerships and they're in growth mode as a company, but they know that the money is made in that used car department and they're trying to always constantly grow it. Those are the ones. If I sit down in a meeting with the dealer and they tell me they have no desire to grow the used car department, then goodbye. Like, I hope you have a great day and I wish you the best, but we don't need to be talking. But what we did through that elite dealer group is we identified the core things that make a dealer successful with VetX. And we know that if they do these things, these like 5-6 things, that their likelihood of success long-term goes through the roof, right? And we want that for everybody that signs up with VetX. So we make it a requirement that if you do these things, right, if you cut same-day checks, if you have dedicated personnel that can do this as a full-time job, and a few other things, if they do all of that, then they get a percentage of their fee back to them as a kind of incentive and reward to do this the right way, right? We need your success just as much, if not more than you do. Our reputation's on the line, right? When you win, we win, right? So this hot start credit is designed to help jumpstart that.
I like that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways for a dealer, if they're watching this right now, is that if you're buying cars just to have metal on the lot for the chance to sell it and maybe get a crack on the back end, you don't have to do that. I promise. There's a better way. We'll show you.
Yes,
you know?
we will show you. Yes.
If you don't evolve, you die, right? And so we're helping push the evolution of the used car department.
We are
for
really just
dealerships.
trying to help the dealers take their talent in the area where they have an advantage.
Wow.
And in return, they make more money. That's it.